My name is Jeff Morgan. I am from Dallas, Texas. In an article from October of 2014, a person who I will refer to as Standard and Family Court wrote an article called Marriage or Registered Cohabitation. And in this article, she was talking about Texas. In Texas, marriage is no more than registered cohabitation because no-fault divorce has been misinterpreted to mean divorce without any cause and without any proof. So if you can get a divorce without any cause and without any proof, what you have is a cohabitating relationship. The difference between marriage and cohabitation is that marriage has legal protections. Cohabitation does not. Marriage is supposed to have legal protections. Now in the state of Texas, we still talk about the marital relationship and the protections of marriage, but the reality is that marriage in the state of Texas is nothing more than a voluntary cohabitation. Marriage exists only as long as both partners voluntarily want to cohabit. In the state of Texas, we have a no-fault divorce system, no-fault divorce laws. In section 6.001 of the Texas Family Code, we have this clause called insupportability. And insupportability is a clause that says that a petitioner can file for divorce based on the idea of insupportability and that the marriage has somehow broken down and has become irretrievably broken and that it will never achieve its ends, its desired ends. Now, none of this stuff is defined in the Texas Family Code. Nobody really knows what it means, but basically it is an easy out to anybody who wants out of a marriage. A wife may have found a richer, more handsome, stronger, younger buck of some sort, wants to take off with him, and the judge says, go ahead and do it. There is no legal protections there to guard the husband and the father who wants to stay in that relationship. By the same token, the father or the husband can also say, well, you know what, I found this little pretty thing, and she's really, really exciting, got quite the personality. We've had sex a few times, and she's so much better than my wife. And you know what, so my marriage is insupportable in comparison to this new young lady that I met. So I want to file for divorce based on the grounds of insupportability. Insupportability is a lie. Insupportability gives an abandoning spouse cover to leave a marriage and to somehow give him or her some type of, like there was something insupportable about the marriage that I had to leave the marriage. It is a lie, it is a fiction. And by the way, there is no legal basis for it. Insupportability is nowhere defined in the Texas Family Code. Now, insupportability has caused a lot of problems in the families in the state of Texas. Once you have a relationship in which one person can leave at any time, for any reason, for no reason, can make up a reason, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, that person will get a divorce. Marriage, for all intents and purposes, has no legal protections and has just become a voluntary cohabiting relationship. Now, in cohabitation, you are allowed to get together and leave at any time you want to. There are a few caveats to that. Like, say, for example, if you have somebody stay in your house, you've invited her to come and live with you and you're cohabitating, and then you want her to leave and she doesn't want to leave, well, you have to go through the whole process of getting her evicted. You just can't kick her out of the house. So there are some caveats to that. But by and large, if you are both, say, living in an apartment that neither one of you owns, you can leave at any time. And there is no repercussions because there is no legal contract between the two of you. Once again, marriage has now become nothing more than a registered cohabitation. When you get a marriage license in the state of Texas, don't be deceived. All you're doing is telling the state of Texas, we are cohabitating with each other, and we just want you to know that. We're registering our cohabitation. Now, if we have children or something like that, that's the product of cohabitation. Even if you get married in a church and you take your vows and your commitments before God, and you say that this is a religious ceremony, this is a sacrament of the church, we are getting married to the glory of God, and somebody changes in that relationship and wants to leave, the state says, well, guess what? That sacrament means nothing. There are no sacramental or any type of vows that mean anything. The state says we will always side with the petitioner who wants out of a marriage. What does this do to our children? Our children, for all intents and purposes, can be raised up with no security that their mother and father will ever stay together. Because for any reason, for no reason, for a made-up reason, either one of them can leave at any time. The other thing that happens is this. When one person goes to court to try to get a divorce, in many instances the divorce is not even necessary. In many instances this can be a situation that can be resolved. You go to somebody to try to get some type of help, and you would think that going to a family court situation, a family court, it's a family court. It's a nice court. Maybe we should call it the family hospital. You go to a court and the judge says, well, you should have counseling first. We need to see that this family can stay together. The judge won't do that. The judge will always hear the reasons for divorce. The judge will not step back and say, I'm sorry, have you gone through counseling? Have you tried to work this out? Have you gone to your church? Have you tried to do anything to make this work? So instead of going to the family hospital, you are going to the family death chamber. Because family court really is the death chamber. Now, the difference between marriage and cohabitation, the registered cohabitation and just normal cohabitation, is that if you want to leave the registered cohabitation, you have to get a registered cohabitation lawyer, a divorce attorney. And the divorce attorney will charge you probably $300, $400 an hour because he or she has to apply her expertise or his expertise in helping you through this. So really what has happened in the state of Texas is that this registered cohabitation has just emboldened and empowered and enriched the divorce attorneys. And I even hate calling them divorce attorneys because, again, in the state of Texas, we really have no such thing as a marital union anymore because there's no protection for marriage. This is also bad for children. If children are growing up in a situation where one parent can leave at any time, for any reason, for no reason, can make up a reason, and even if they say, but Daddy, I don't want you to leave. Daddy, please stay. Daddy, can't you and Mommy work it out? Or Mommy, let that man go. He's not a good person. We want Daddy in our lives too. The children have absolutely no say in the matter. The judge will always, without exception, and the judge acting as a representative of the state of Texas will always, without exception, grant a divorce without even making the two people try to work things out. There are lots of constitutional problems with this whole process, but once again, we have to remember that the bottom line is this. In the state of Texas, there really is no such thing as marital relationship. Now, the funny thing is that in the Texas Family Code, we do talk about marriage and the marital relationship and the duty to support each other if you're married. But there's no elaboration on what that duty to support entails. There's no elaboration on if you're having a difficulty, what the duty to support means. Does it mean that you support each other and you find help? Or does it mean that you just abandon each other? In the past, you used to have to get divorced for one of the big 3A reasons, by and large: abuse, adultery, or abandonment. So if a person was abusing his wife or her husband, or committing adultery, ongoing adultery, or abandoning the spouse with no intention of returning, that was a reason for divorce, because the legal provisions of the contract, the expectations of the marital union were being violated. That was a reason for divorce. No-fault divorce, unilateral divorce, divorce on demand. That very same divorce practice that we imported, by and large, from Bolshevik Russia. Vladimir Lenin imposed no-fault unilateral divorce on Bolshevik Russia. That is our divorce practice here in the state of Texas. There needs to be some type of legal protections to marriage. Other than that, all we have in the state of Texas is a cohabiting relationship, a voluntary cohabiting relationship. Two people are in a cohabitating relationship until one person decides to leave. There is no such thing as marriage anymore in the state of Texas. There's no security because one person, again, can leave for any reason, for no reason, can make up a reason. And the state will always, 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 without exception, side with the person who wants to go. The divorce crisis that we have in the state of Texas really is a marriage crisis because we have defined away marriage. Marriage means nothing. So divorce is an easy option, an easy way out. And in the divorce process, you have given us a system in which divorce attorneys can rape the financial assets of a family and destroy families that otherwise could have made it, could have been saved, families that could have been kept intact, children that could have been living with both parents rather than living with one, or being in a situation where he or she is with a mother and a new boyfriend, or a father and a new girlfriend, or maybe even with no parents whatsoever. This is a crisis in the state of Texas. The divorce crisis, the marriage crisis, whatever you want to call it, We need to redefine marriage and actually give it some legal protections. And we need to go back to what marriage used to be. Marriage was never just a cohabiting relationship. You can cohabit with another person without being married all you want to and leave at any time you want to. Marriage has legal protections and legal obligations, and we need to go back to that type of a system, and a judge needs to seek to uphold the rights of the innocent person in divorce, the person who wants to keep the marriage together, and not just grant divorce on demand. Thank you.